Today we're making this cutie bookmark. It's super easy and very fast to make. For materials, you're going to need some yarn. I'm using this super fine size 1 yarn by Hobby. And with this yarn, I'm using a 2.2 millimeter hook. You can use any yarn and any hook size that works for you, but I really recommend you go lighter for this pattern just because the stitch is very bulky. And you will need a darning needle and scissors. Begin by making a slip knot. This is how I make my slip knot. And then attach that loop to the hook and tighten it. And then now you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then that loop on your hook, I want you to lengthen it just a little bit, so like that. And then I want you to yarn over and insert the hook in that first chain. So not here, you're putting it in that first chain. And then pull up a loop. So you should have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to do that again. So yarn over, insert the hook in the same space in that first chain, and then pull up a loop again. And try to keep them the same length right here. And then one more time, so 3 times total. So this is the last time, and then pull up a loop. And so you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on your hook. And then now before you pull this yarn through the loops, I want you to hold it with your thumb like that. Hold this yarn with your thumb. Or you could do it with your middle finger like that. You just want to keep it away from those stitches, and then you can pull a loop. And then in that space that we were holding, right here, I want you to put your hook and make a slip stitch. And that's your first puff. And now chain 1 and then lengthen it. And then in that slip stitch that we did right here on top of that puff stitch, you're going to do that again. So yarn over, insert your hook there, and pull up a long loop. Do that 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Before you put this yarn through the loops, I want you to hold it, maybe with your middle finger like this. You can put it with your thumb, or you could just like hold it like that. This is what I do, kind of pinch it, and then pull it through. And then in that space that we were pinching, I want you to insert your hook and do a slip stitch. And so that's your second puff. And so we're going to make enough of these puffs for the length of the book. And so this is the book that I'm doing this for. And so I'm going to make enough of these to cover to the top. Okay, so for my book, I ended up making 15 of those puff stitches, just because we're also going to add tassels at the end, and so I don't want it to be too long. And so I think this is perfect, especially because it stretches too with the tassels. And so this is how long I want it for my book. I did 15, and so I'll show you now how to start the next round. So since this is the length I want, that last one we're going to do together is going to count as our turning chain. And so you're going to do it as usual. And so again, after we slip stitched here, you're going to chain 1 and lengthen that chain. And then again in that slip stitch right here, you're going to do 3 yarn overs. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And so this is going to count as our turning chain. And so you're going to do the same thing, pinch this yarn right here, and then pull it through all the loops, and then you're going to slip stitch. And so this last puff stitch is our turning chain. And so it's straight, but what you can do is just like tilt it this way. So like that. And so now we can start the jasmine stitch. To begin the jasmine stitch, we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. So you're going to make a chain and then lengthen it. And then in that same spot that we did right here, that slip stitch of the turning chain, you're going to do the same thing, yarn over 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And now before you pull it over, you're not going to pull through, you're going to go at the base of that turning chain. So we did it at that slip stitch right here. Now we're going to do it at the base. So you can see right here, this is where we're doing our second 3 yarn overs. So yarn over, insert your hook here, just in that right here. So we're going to do another 3 yarn over. 1, 2, 3. So this is our second incomplete puff stitch. So that's 1 and that's 2. And then in right here, in that third spot right here, in the base of this puff stitch right here, you're going to do another 3 yarn overs. So 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 incomplete puff stitches right here. And then now we can go ahead and pinch this right here and then pull through all. Because this yarn is thin, it was easy to pull it through all. But if your yarn is thick, you might want to do it through 3 and then 3 and then 3 until you get it out this way. And so as usual, what you're going to do is insert it in here, in that area we were pinching, and then slip stitch. And this is, you can see that this is half of our jasmine stitch. So now we're just going to keep doing the same thing we've been doing. And so after we slip stitched here, you're going to chain 1, lengthen the chain, and then you're going to do the 3 yarn overs here at the top of this half jasmine stitch right here. So you're going to do 3 yarn overs here. 1, 2, and 3. And then our second set of 3 is going to be at the base right here. So yarn over. 1, 2, and 3. And then our third incomplete puff is going to be here. So 1, 2, and 3. And so now that you have 3 incomplete puffs, you're going to pinch this, yarn over, and then pull it through all loops on your hook. And then you'll do the same thing here. You're going to insert your hook here in that area we were pinching, and then you will slip stitch. You should have something that looks like this. You can see that the jasmine is starting to form. So the same thing all the way to the end. You're going to do, after the slip stitch, you chain 1 and then lift that chain up and then yarn over, and then again you're going to do it in that right here where we slip stitched, in that slip stitch, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, 1, 2, and 3, and then do that at the base right here. So yarn over, pull up a loop, 1, yarn over, 2, and then yarn over, 3, and then again one more time at the base right here. 1, 2, and 3. Now we have the 3 incomplete puff stitches, and again you will pinch right here, this yarn right here, and then you can pull it over through all the loops on your hook. And then I want you to go back in here and make a slip stitch. And so you're just going to keep going until the last stitch. And so I will meet you back right here. That last stitch is going to look a little confusing, but it's not, it's really not. So once you complete 14 half Jasmine stitches, we will do this one together. So now I completed most of them, and now I'm kind of here at the end. I have one more puff stitch here. And so you're kind of just doing the same thing. You're chaining one like always, lengthen it, and then doing the 3 yarn overs here at that slip stitch. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then the same thing at the base right here, you're doing 3 yarn overs. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then for the last set of yarn overs, you're kind of just doing them here like we're doing just at the base. So I would just insert my hook here and do the 3 yarn overs. It doesn't really matter. So I'm putting it here and then doing the 3 yarn overs. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then again, you're pinching right here and then yarning over and pulling through all, and then slip stitch right here. This completes this part of the Jasmine stitch, and so now you're just going to do one more round. So after completing this round, you're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And then now to begin the round, you're going to lengthen that chain. And then right here in that slip stitch that we did, you're going to do 3 yarn overs. 1, 2, and 3. And that's it for this one. This is kind of like our turning at the beginning of the round. We always just do a regular puff stitch. And so 3 yarn overs and then pinch and then pull through all loops and then slip stitch right here. And then now we can continue with our Jasmine stitch. And so to continue with the Jasmine stitch, you're going to chain 1, lengthen it, and then do 3 yarn overs right here in that slip stitch of the turning puff stitch. So right here, you're going to do 1, 2, and 3. And then the second 3 is going to be at the base of that turning puff. So right here, 1, 2, 3, and then the other 3 is going to be at the base right here. 1, 2, and 3. And so you should have something that looks like this. And then now yarn over, pull through all, and then slip stitch. And so it should look like this. And then you're just going to continue all the way down with the Jasmine stitch. And so again, you're going to chain 1, lengthen it, and then in that slip stitch, you're just going to do 3 yarn overs. 1, 2, and 3. And then at the base right here, you're going to do 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And then right here, 3 more. So 3 incomplete puff stitches, just like we did in the earlier round. 2, and 3. And so after you have the 3 incomplete puff stitches, you're going to pinch right here, and then yarn over, pull through all, and then slip stitch. So you can see here that the jasmine has been formed, and you're just going to continue to do this all the way down. And so I will just do one more with you. So the same thing, after slip stitching, chain 1 and then 3 yarn overs. 1, 2, 3, and then 3 yarn overs at the base right here. 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 yarn overs right here. 1, 2, and 3. And so same thing, you're just going to pinch right here, pull through all loops on your hook, and then slip stitch. And that's our second jasmine stitch. And now you're just going to continue doing this all the way to the end, and I will meet you at that last one again. So here I'm at the last stitch again. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to chain 1, pull it, and then do the 3 yarn overs here. 1, 2, and 3. And then the 3 yarn overs at the base right here. 1, 2, and 3. And then for the last set of yarn overs, they're going to be at the base right here. You're going to yarn over and then insert it right here. You're going in that base. So right here. So that's 1 yarn over, 2, and 3. And then now pinch, pull, and then slip stitch. And now our jasmine stitches are finished. You're just going to chain 1 and then pull the yarn, and then you can actually cut it now. Cut, pull it, and then this part is completed. So this is the front of it. To add your tassels, it's very easy. You're going to need 9 pieces of yarn. So I'm going to cut about this big, maybe 12 inches or so. It doesn't really matter. Just make them kind of uniform. They don't have to be perfectly uniform just because you're going to cut them after you add the tassels. Now you're going to grab 3 at a time. Make them kind of similar lengths. So like that. You're going to grab 3 at a time and then insert your hook through the front. So this is the front of our work. And then you can just insert it anywhere here. This is where I want my first tassel to be, right here. So this is where I'm going to insert my hook. And then I'm going to grab the 3 pieces of yarn like that, and then pull them through the front, like that, and then pull this through the loop on the hook. And then pull it. And this one is completed. We're going to cut it at the end. So now grab another 3. Second one, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to pick a spot here in the middle somewhere. Pull it through. I didn't get all of them, but that's okay. And then pull at this. Scissors, and we're going to just cut, cut, cut.